Live from the Coliseum, we welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV. Boy, what a long off season it has been for Saturday night racing with the TNGG Irish Esports League. They have since rebranded to the TNGG Sim Racers Association and get set for a brand new journey. Started at Bristol Motor Speedway with the SRA Mini Stock Series. My name is Little Ramble, just joined alongside by Austin Edstrom. We're bringing you all of racing action from start to finish for the Track Hawk 50 for the season opener. Austin, boy, what a race it is going to be this afternoon. We, of course, have got 3 heat races and 1 main event on the night. 10 laps apiece for the heats, 50 for the main event. Caution laps not counting throughout. It's going to be a fun show here this afternoon with 16 mini stocks ready to rumble.
Yeah, it's going to be a interesting, kind of different, or something completely different than we typically see on Green Flag TV, right? Seeing the mini stocks coming around here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I'm liking that we're getting to see something a little bit different this season here, and I can't wait to see what's in store for us. I don't know anything about these things, so I'm on the edge of my seat just to kind of be around and learn and see what these things have in them.
I can tell you right now, it's not like the roar of the stock cars that we're used to be seeing. These cars, much more akin to a bunch of angry hornets. They're going to be buzzing around this racetrack, and they're going to be buzzing around us all season long. There's a lot of very exciting races coming on up for this series here. In fact, we take a look at the schedule entering the championship. We, of course, start things off at a big name track. It's at Bristol, but then we swing to a bit of a Pocono mini layout. It's Concord Speedway next week. Now, that race will not be broadcasted live. We'll be covering the Petit Le Mans for the VSA Sports Car Championships finale, so that will be broadcasted live to tape on Monday night instead. But when we return, it's another big track, Iowa Speedway for a 50-lap bout, 60 laps around Langley to kick off November, followed by a 50-lap run around the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Oxford Plains Speedway sees a 70-lap run. North Wilkesboro Speedway will see 50, and then we finish it all out on November 30th at South Boston Speedway for the Sellers 75. There is a lot of thrilling races on the calendar for us here this season. It's not a long championship, only 8 races, but this is a trial run. And hey, 16 cars already, that's not bad for a short track field. We should have a good night.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a very, very, very short season, but I think it's going to just kind of ramp up the intensity, right? Every single race matters that much more. Every point that you get out on the racetrack in every single race is just amplified, or the meaning behind that point is amplified. Just a lot tougher to come by. So you got to be here for every single race this season, and you got to make sure that you're fighting towards the top and making sure that you're doing good through those heat races. Like you said, a handful of heat races to start this thing out. Make sure that you get yourself through that main event and get as many points as possible.
All the points scored at this championship do come from the main event. There are no points being given out for just the position in the heat race. So you're going to have to really make sure that you are absolutely on your game this afternoon. Qualifying already more or less complete. We're waiting out the last minute and a half here, but already 15 and 16 cars have put down times. Cody Witt did attempt to put down a lap for the 16th place spot, but unfortunately both his laps were invalidated. Like you mentioned, heard a lot of great things about this car, but I think it's worth noting, these cars, they don't usually run at Bristol Motor Speedway. So this track, I think a bit of an unknown quantity for these drivers in these cars, because I mean, this track, it carries speeds a lot higher than what these cars are used to running at.
Well, and I feel like that's what Bristol is for most race cars, right? Anything other than, the big bad NASCAR cars that go at the big mile and a halves. Every other, stock car kind of series or lesser, it's going to be the fastest racetrack you go to. I mean, it's got the highest banking, incredible banking in the corners. You're not going to be slowing down much in anything other than a NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity car. So not too surprising to see that this is one of their consistently, highest speed racetracks. It's almost like a little mini super speedway for little cars like this.
You talk about the banking of this place, and you're right. The banking here is absolutely monstrous. And I mean, when we talk about the banking that you get at this racetrack, you're talking 24 to 28 degrees in the corners, right? Now that, you compare that to Daytona, Daytona's got 31. So these corners only bank 3 degrees less than Daytona. That, I think, puts into perspective just how steep the banking is at this place is for real.
Oh, it's insane. I was here a couple of weeks ago for the NASCAR race, and it was mental being down on the racetrack and looking up. I mean, it's insane just how high these corners go if you're standing on the apron It's a sight to see, insane to see, and I'm really interested to see how the progressive banking plays into this race. Right, we've seen it in NASCAR time and time again, make it a top dominant racetrack. Are we going to see something similar, or is it going to be low line as fast just because you're taking the least distance? You know, it's something I'm interested to see with the slower race cars.
We'll find out in just a moment. For now, here's your starting grid for the first heat race ever for the SRA Mini Stock Series. Zane Bailey starts on the pole with a 16.570, a blitzing lap time for a mini stock around this place. Jim Duda in the number 2 spot. Mike Allen will be 3rd with Thomas Lane Jr. in 4th. John Bualda Jr. and Cody Witt round out the tail of the field. Again, 3 heat races. This is going to be the first of those 3.
Not too much spread throughout the qualifying field. From what, 1st to 14th in qualifying, there was just over 0.3 of a second in it, so not a lot of difference between the field tonight. That makes me think we're gonna have a lot of close racing.
And it all is going to kick off with this first heat race here this afternoon. Still have got to wait for the pace car to track around this little half-mile bull ring twice, because of course it is a short track, and that's going to be something we're used to all season long. Real quick here, Austin, how representative do you think the racing we see in this heat race is going to be compared to the main event?
We've got a third of the field compared to what we're going to see in the main event, so I don't think it's going to be very representative at all. Like, we don't even have a mid-pack for the heat race, so I don't think we're going to get a good idea of what the racing is going to be like from 6th to 15th on the actual grid. I think it's going to be a lot more packed up here. I could see it getting a little bit more spread out, maybe a couple 2 or 3 car battles, but that'd be it.
Well, we're happy that you are joining us here on Saturday night. The iRacing Safe car makes the duck at a pit road. It's now on the leader, Zane Bailey. His 3-start line. We are underway. Heat race 1 has just launched from Bristol Motor Speedway. 10 laps the distance. Bailey pulling away through turns 1 and 2.
Just now eclipsing the 100-mile-an-hour mark as they come out of turn number 2, and it's door-to-door for the race lead. Bailey and Duda going at it down in 3 and 4. Duda not willing to give up that top side, stays to the right rear of your pole sitter. Zane Bailey laid down the fastest lap in qualifying, but Jim Duda wants to put that 0.53 up to the race lead here in heat race number 1.
He is moving around the top side of this progressively banked oval, and he's going to actually take that one for the top shelf, really showing just how key the momentum is around this racetrack. He is the only car running the high side. Everybody else behind running the bottom. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all packed up by only about 4 car lengths. Bailey trying to battle back to the inside, and already we are 3 down, 7 to go.
I'm just surprised at how high Duda is running up in the corners. I could see the middle lane, especially through 1 and 2, the middle lane being faster, but I mean, he is climbing the banking every single time, giving a lot of room on the bottom, but he's keeping his distance. I just feel like he'd get a little bit more speed if he ran a little bit lower. He's keeping Zane Bailey, giving him an opportunity there through 1 and 2. I like that middle groove.
You're right on board with Mike Allen. You can see Bailey starting to migrate further up the racetrack to the outside line, trying to, I think, find some kind of way to get through. You see how much of these cars are sliding around to the corners to the right, but that tail end is drifting out just a little bit. So that really hurts when you're trying to keep that momentum up.
These look fun. Like, you're sliding these things down into turn 1 and 2. It's just a big, big oval, like the bottom of an egg. Turns 1 and 2 here at Bristol, and you can just slide it anywhere you want. You can see Duda is just letting that thing fly off into the corner on the top side. The banking is keeping them in it, and even Bailey a couple rows lower. It's just kind of using the difference in the banking between the seams, kind of hovering between 2 different seams, letting the car rotate over that a couple times here. And I don't know, it's presenting an interesting battle. You can kind of put this car wherever and do a couple different things and make speed.
2 laps to go in the first of what will be 3 heat races this afternoon. Zane Bailey and Jim Duda pulling out a 1-second gap from Matt Allen back in 3rd. The battle is on for that number 3 spot down to the tail end of the field with Thomas Lane Jr., the 5 of John Bualda Jr. all trying to make moves, but the white flag has flown. Bailey trying to see if he can't size up a pass into turn numbers 3 and 4. This time he's going to send it to the bottom. Jim Duda working the high line, and Duda wins your first heat race of the SRA Mini Stock Series, and a drag race for 3rd. Mike Allen hangs on.
Yeah, it was a heck of a start to the race for Jim Duda. He just kind of caught Zane Bailey napping, and it seems like if you get to somebody's right rear, you're going to have a pass made. The way that he was able to just power by, even on the cold tires, on the initial start of the race, that was something there from Jim Duda.
Jim Duda takes away the #1 position with Zane Bailey in second, so Duda will start on pole for the main event. Allen, Lane, and Bualda in a three-way fight for third, then Cody Witt dropped off big time from the tail end. That's it for heat race #1. This is your results for heat race, well, this is your starting grid, sorry, for heat race #2, Austin.
Yep, Aaron Raymond lining up on the pole for heat race #2. Dylan Wilbers in second. Anthony Williams lining up in third. Paul Witt in fourth. And Anthony Lane is going to be starting in the 5th place position. Just a 5-car heat, as the next one is also going to be a 5-car heat as well.
So 1 6-car heat and 2 5-car heats, and that will take us now to what will then be the main event. All drivers are going to be making it into that main event this afternoon, so all this is doing is setting us up for the starting grid for that championship. Should be a fun one here this afternoon. You see them working the back straight away, and Denny's set to go once again. I think the pace car will take them around one more time.
Is the top lane prevail again?
I'd have a hard time believing it wouldn't.
The way that Duda was able to just throw that thing into the corner and let it rip around and carry speed down the front straightaway, I find it hard to believe that Raymond can make this pass down on the bottom and make it cleanly or completely clear Wilbers. As long as Dylan's, paying attention big time on the restart, I do think that Duda had a heck of a start on the outside on the last go around, but if Wilbers can do the same, I find it hard to believe Raymond could just completely clear him.
See a little bit of aggression there right off the hitch. Anthony Lane kind of nosing the 3 of Anthony Williams into the back of Aaron Raymond. I think they're ready to go. They're impatient. They want to get this race underway, and I can't say I blame them. You mentioned these cars look fun. I've only heard good things about them ever since Iverson dropped them on the service. Green flag's out, and look at the getaway from Raymond.
Yeah, if he's going to get that good of a start, if Dylan can't get to the gas pedal at all, then it's going to be pretty easy for Aaron Raymond to clear the field and get off and away coming out of turn 2 down into 3 and 4. Raymond easily with the race lead. Anthony Williams up to second from third, with Wilbers just trying to kind of mitigate the damage now that he had that poor start. He's on the outside getting pressure from the 82, who's now side by side with Paul Witt there in the 429 wrapping the outside.
Oh boy, and look at Witt carrying the speed into the back end of Wilbers. Wilbers going to hang on as he runs through 1 and 2, took that slide right to the bottom and was able to get it going for him. So Anthony Lane dropping at the tail end so far. Anthony Williams, the only driver that's actually made a successful overtake for second. Aaron Raymond already out by half a second, and we're not even halfway through heat race number 2.
Which I guess we shouldn't be so surprised that Raymond is kind of gapping the field early, right? I mean, Raymond has kind of separated himself as one of the best, right, in the SRA series. So we shouldn't be too surprised that he's, figuring out this new car pretty quick. Wilbers
around the top shelf. Picks off the number 2 spot, takes it back from Anthony Williams. Now here comes Paul Witt. He wants to try to see if he can have a look. 5 down, 5 to go. In heat race number 2, round the top side goes Paul Witt. And Williams going to tuck in line between himself and Anthony Lane. This really almost feels like a super speedway, right? You get caught out of line, you're going to get a freight train if you can't find a hole.
It really does kind of seem like that. It seems like you want to run a little bit higher. And then a little bit further back, I believe Anthony Williams got caught out or got spun. Oh, and another one way off down on the apron, the 82. Of Anthony Lane. I don't know what's going on with the Anthonys, but that was definitely not a good lap for him.
No kidding. That was a violent hit that they took into the wall. Take another look at this one. As just got into the right rear or left rear. That was a good save for the Valvoline number 3. I thought for sure he had gone into the fence.
Able to hang on to it. Both those guys falling completely off the pack. They're not going to have any chance at improving their starting position. Starting position in the main event, unless any of the top 3 have a mistake themselves. But they're so spread out as we take the white flag. I don't think that they're going to have a chance.
Aaron Raymond in a class of his own. 1 second the gap as he looks set come off of turn number 4. He takes the win in heat race number 2. The fight for 4th coming off at the final corner. And Lane going to pick off Williams, and Williams not able to get him back. So there is the results for heat race number 2 up on your screen. One more heat race to go this afternoon. Raymond, Wilbers, Witt, Lane, and Williams close things out. And Austin, you got the grid for heat number 3.
Alrighty, we are gridding up for heat race number 3. Jared Duda up on the pole for it. Noah Swafford in 2nd. Jim Colmansberg in 3rd. John Holiday in 4th. And Robert Amaral in 5th place.
5 cars once again. Colmansberger, a driver that has made some starts before. Of course, Amaral, a TNGG IL Truck Series veteran, but this is his first time running the street stocks with this crew. No doubt eager to see what he can do in that Pennzoil number 77 down at the tail end of the field, and no doubt he's going to be out for Truck Series action when that series returns come January in 2025. About a lap and a half to go, and then the final heat race is underway. So we'll have a little bit of a warm-up, and then we'll get straight into main event action. So, Austin, we are flying through this event so far. Caution-free. They did try, though, in Heat 2.
They did try in Heat 2. They definitely did. It was getting pretty close there. Now, in Heat 3, especially with him starting up on the pole, are we going to get a Duda double up in the heat races?
That'd be pretty wild. It wouldn't put them both on the front row, but it would put them 1st and 3rd. I don't know if there's a relation between the two. I'm having a hard time believing there's not, but that'd be something to inquire if they end up finishing on the podium.
There can't be too many Dudas out there that play iRacing, right? So, like, they've got to be related in some way.
I know a Nick Duda races over in the West Coast Pro Mod series, so.
But for them to be in the same league,
yeah.
you gotta feel like Duda double up.
Yeah. Pace car is off. Jared Duda holding, launching early, green flags up, we're underway.
Duda with a jump, but the 26 Swafford holds his right rear until they get down to the 1. Swafford just way up the racetrack. I thought he'd challenge him, but he just gave him so much space that Duda is gone down the back straightaway.
No kidding, he took off like a bat out of hell. So it's all a battle for 2nd on down now. Holiday holding Swafford honest within about 0.3 of a second, but even Noah Swafford started to pull away just a little bit. Jim Colmansberger dropped all the way back to 4th off of the initial start there. He's trying to see if he can't pressure John Holiday for 3rd.
Yeah, they're battling closely for that 3rd place position. Holiday currently holding on to it as we come down to 1 and 2. The 11 running a little bit higher up the racetrack. These guys have swapped positions since the start of the race. They started opposite as they run, but the 11's fighting hard to get back to that 3rd place spot. Trying to get back up to where he started. Colmansberger still trying the high line, but just not getting the momentum. Holiday just looking ever so slightly quicker than the 11 right now.
On board with the helmet cam of Jim Colmansberger as he tries to chase after Holiday in the battle for 3rd. You can see the top 2 start continuing to stretch their legs up at the head of this field. Halfway home through heat race number 3. And off the tail end, Robert Amaral just dropping back like a rock. You see him just barely clinging on to the tail end. I think he's looking to start this race with the back and just try to play this one conservatively.
Might not be a bad idea in the 50-lap main event. You never know what we're going to see whenever we actually get 15, 16 of these guys out there on the racetrack at the same time. I'm telling you, 5 guys on the racetrack is nothing like having 15. I've been to the local short track. I've seen races with 5-car fields. I've seen races with 15-car fields. It means a lot. It means a lot of these half-mile short tracks to have a big car count. So these heat races, I don't think that they're going to tell a similar tale to what we see in the main event.
Bump drafting, do you think that's going to be a possibility tonight? Because they carried a lot of speed where the draft is almost a factor, but is it enough of a factor to make it relevant?
I mean, you might see it at very, very specific times, like one guy stuck on the bottom of the racetrack, one guy on the top just gets a better run, so he bumps the other guy on the top just to push them along. Like, you're going to see that, you know, once, twice, 3 times in the race. But other than that, nah.
Jared Duda currently leading the way. He'll come around through turn numbers 3 and 4 for the Good Wrench Service Plus Chevy Monte Carlo. And it'll be Jared Duda off of 4. He takes the final win for the heat racing action this afternoon. Holiday outlasts against Kolbensberger for 3rd. And that takes us to the end of your 3rd and final heat race this afternoon.
The Duda double up. It has come true.
So with all that said and done, there are the results for heat race number 3, and boy, they are doing something special. I think the results page is just as excited as we are to get minute of action underway. But Austin, your thoughts here now that we've had a chance to reflect on the heat racing action?
I expect a lot more chaos in the main event. I really do. I think the battling from like 5th to 10th is going to be very chaotic, very tight. The top 3 or 4, I think, could also be a whole lot closer than what we saw in the heat races, but just seeing a lot of cars out on the field at the same time, maybe even getting in lap traffic at some point, I think it presents a interesting challenge here going into the main event.
Well, we'll find all of that out in just a little while. Warm-up session currently underway. We'll take a quick break as well when we return. It's the 50-lap main event for the Trackhawk 50 on Greenflight TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Greenflight TV. We are just about ready to get this show on the road for main event action here this afternoon. Once again, my name is Rebel alongside Austin Edstrom, bringing you all of racing action. from Bristol Motor Speedway for the Track Hawk 50. 3 heat races down, no yellows so far. They got close in heat 2, but lots of great racing as well. It's going to be an awesome 50 laps of action ahead of us.
Oh, I think so for sure. Having the entire field now put into this race, I think it's going to ratchet up the intensity a whole lot, have a whole lot more, wheel-to-wheel action through the corners. I think the initial start of the race is going to be a lot crazier. We could actually see some cautions in this thing, kind of throw a loop into the normal status quo racing. And, well, 50 laps, even with yellows, it's going to go by pretty quick, I got to say.
Oh, it sure will, and no doubt it's going to be an exciting one this afternoon. So, let's take a rundown of what that starting grid is going to look like as we get set to duke it out. 50 laps around the last Great Coliseum of the Mini Stocks, ready to rumble to life. Started on pole position, it is heat race number 1 winner Jim Duda, alongside heat 2 winner Aaron Raymond. Heat 3 winner Jared Duda brings it up in 3rd. Zane Bailey is 4th. Dylan Wilbers is 5th. Noah Swafford is down in 6th. Mike Allen and Paul Witt round out the first half of the field on row number 4 here. Austin.
Starting in 9th, this is going to be John Holiday with Thomas Lane rounding out row number 5. Anthony Lane starting in the 11th place position with Jimmy Colemansberger starting in 12th. 13th place is going to be John Bawada Jr. Anthony Williams starting alongside him in 14th. On the final row of the field here tonight is going to be Robert Amaral and Cody Whitten.
So that all said and done, all these cars rumbling out, well, more buzzing out, as we get set to see what 16 cars now looks like around this place. The racing action was on fire all day long, and I have to say, I'm putting my money here on either Raymond or Jim Duda to win this one. They were always at the front, even in the truck series, and seeing as how they won their respective heat races, I see no reason why that streak stops today.
Well, and Jim Duda was the big winner from the heat races, right? He qualified 4th, don't forget. The other 2 heat race winners qualified 2nd and 3rd. They're starting 2nd and 3rd. Jim Duda qualified 4th, and he gets to start in 1st place because he had such a good start against Zane Bailey. Shucking Bailey back to 2nd, which puts him back to 4th on this initial start. So Duda really the big winner, putting himself up onto the pole for this main event here.
Field's going to work itself into turn numbers 1 and 2 for the final time. As once again, we get set to set Saturday night racing action ablaze, this time with a whole host of mini stocks stacked up, doubled up, ready to duke it out. We're happy that you're joining us once again on Saturday night as the iRacing safety car pulls down and into pit road. It's time to get the party started. It's go, go, go in Tennessee.
Oh my goodness, and the outside line absolutely flying. I'm a little nervous for Raymond that he may have gone a little bit early. Almost looked like he might have been ahead of Duda, but through 1 and 2, Duda comes back. Able to get side by side as we go down into 3. A little bit of a hip check, door contact between the 2 as we head down into the corner. Maybe some more as we come out. Not quite. And they're making further behind. The yellow flag is flying as we've got 3 cars stacked up out of 4.
Big troubles there off of turn numbers 3 and 4. That was a monster of a hit that several cars took on that one. Look at the 16 of Dylan Wilbers, absolutely destroyed. And I think that may very well spell an end to his racing action here for the afternoon. But well, with all of that, let's take a look on what happened there coming off of the final corner as Dylan Wilbers finds himself facing the wrong direction. They were 3 wide, and they were almost 3 wide for the lead at the same time.
Yeah, I figured it would be a lot more stacked up. These guys just don't find each other. And oh man, there was a big wreck behind them too. Just completely unrelated. 2 cars coming together at the back of the field.
So a few cars getting involved in this one. Take a look at speed. Holiday just drifted up the track and hard into the wall. That's going to take a healthy handful of them out of the field early. That's about a third of this field now that has just been annihilated. Look behind. Same deal. Bawalda just turned across the nose, went straight.
Now they do have 2 fast repairs, so they can get back into it.
So it's not over yet, is what you're saying.
As long as they didn't blow an engine, and as long as they can get back to pit road, they're fine. But it does hurt their running position, and those are some hard hits, man. I mean, holy cow! 2 guys basically getting right reared. up the racetrack in turn 4 at the exact same time, that's pretty massive. And I think we might have just had an incident under yellow.
Oh dear. Let's try to find the culprit. John Holiday, perhaps?
He is having an issue, but I don't
That wheel.
I don't think
how
he's not
deformed it is.
crashing. He's trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard somebody say on the radio that they were crashing under caution, but I don't know.
Maybe that's what they were referencing. Well, we'll get this field stacked up and get them ready to go. Back to green flag racing this time by. I do not believe caution laps are counting, although SDK is potentially telling me otherwise. It's giving me mixed messages. They're not supposed to be counting. I can tell you that much.
My iRacing is telling me we're on lap 1. So,
Okay,
I
so
don't think
we are not counting caution laps. So SDK is just wrong. Good to know. It's not really made for this type of racing, but hey, should be a good run nonetheless. Green flag's out. We're back to it.
Oh man, these guys are already leaning on each other to the restart zone. A bunch of contacts. They're not giving each other any room. Duda all the way on the door. But Raymond around 1 and 2 is going to have enough drive to clear him. Down the contact line. Duda's going to turn himself into the inside wall. Slingshot back across the racetrack. 3 cars involved. One of them up on the fence. That's the 53. Jared Duda, Jim Duda, both of them involved in heavy damage.
Wow. That was one of the wildest short track wrecks I think we've ever seen. Raymond still holds the lead after that. That was a violent hit, though, up into the outside wall. We'll take a look. That was Jared Duda. That might spell an end to his night. Up the track.
Well, we do have 2 fast repairs, but
Good grief.
And he's still rolling, so I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be
Have
okay.
you
But that
ever.
was a big one. That was a big one. That was a lot of aggression from Jim Duda. A lot of aggression.
Taking a look at speed. And, oh, this will be a wild one. Oh, boy. I think that really does a good job on showing just the immense speeds that these guys are carrying around this place.
I hope poor Anthony Lane has not used both fast repairs. No, he's only used 1. Okay, I thought he might have been involved in the first wreck too, but he was only involved in the second. So I think everybody that's used a fast repair has only used 1. So that's the good news. The bad news is we have had more cautions than laps we've completed.
Well, it was bound to happen eventually. We went good for so long, and now the aggression has started to turn up. I think now that points are on the line, but that was just a case of Jim Duda being way too aggressive. He tried to look to the inside, and you can't do that when you got a car's nose at your door.
No, you can't.
It's not going to work.
It was definitely a little bit too much there from Duda coming down towards turn 3. Just not clear. Not clear. He thought Jared was going to give him the room, but I mean, there was just not really any room to give, if I'm being honest. You know, you hold him tight there. You want to have the inside going into the next corner, have a shot at second, and unfortunately, Jim just turned down on him.
So officially only 2 laps in the books right now. And they're going to continue on that throughout. And just got some confirmation as well, by the way, from fellow league runner Joshua Jernigan. That's father and son that just took each other out. So that's gonna be an awkward Thanksgiving reunion.
Is Jim the dad?
I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll
he
see
just
here.
turned hard left across his son. What the heck are you doing, Jim? I
could
don't know
be
if
the
your
other
son
way.
deserved that left hook.
Well, I mean, let's see. How's the phrase go? Youth and exuberance is no match for old age and treachery. Well, I think both of them just lost there on that deal.
I was about to say, they both went hard into the inside wall and lost, well, a good chunk of track position, I gotta say, right? Running second and third now. They're, well, I don't even know how far back. They're at the back of the pack.
We'll get this show back on the road. It'll take us probably a minute to get everything sorted out timing-wise. Hopefully we keep this race green. It is worth noting there's a 2-hour time limit on this race, so It's pretty safe to say we're going to get through this race before that 2 hours hits. But
I was about to say, I believe.
let's not push the mark, though. We'll see this time around. Getting set to go. Looking to see if we can make it a lap green. Green flag's up in the air. We are back to it. Aaron Raymond leading the charge down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. He's got Mike Allen right behind. Zane Bailey way up on the top. Raymond holding to the inside. Allen giving a bit of a bumper there.
Oh, one might be spinning through 3 and 4.
Multiple spinning.
Across the fence. Multiple cars into the outside wall. That's another big one. That's huge coming out of turn number 4. I'm starting to think we might be pushing that 2-hour limit pretty close.
And we still have not made it 1 lap green. Raymond continues to lead the way. So it just keeps on escalating more and more. Take another look at the replay. 3 wide, coming through turn numbers 3 and 4 here. Where does this start? 77.
77.
Tracked up into the 53, and it's all she
Robert
wrote.
Amaro just drifts up and then comes back down the racetrack and destroys the 5. And a ping pong effect comes down, gets Jim Duda. And the 82, who just had to use a fast repair, Jim Duda did too. Both of them go head on into the outside wall. So Anthony Lane, Jim Duda from last place after being up towards the front, both getting, caught up again. So that's tough. We're 3 laps in and you've used both of your fast repairs.
It's not a pleasant feeling because on that one, neither of those 2 drivers are at fault.
Oh, no, they're not at all. Of course not.
So, 3rd caution in as many laps. Still have not made it 1 green.
I have faith. I have faith.
How long before you get the single file call?
2 more.
So I know your local short track. I mean, you go 3 laps. Maybe really think about pulling that trigger right about now. I remember at the Ice Bowl at the Talladega short track. This is 2 years ago now. There's the super late model feature, about a 50-lap super late model main event there around that dirt track, and there were 3 big wrecks that involved 10 or more cars in 2 laps. I didn't think it was possible. They did not let them go single file the rest of the night after that, or double file. So it wouldn't be the first time. And to be fair, we haven't gotten to that level yet.
Yeah, we're not quite there. We're not quite there.
The night's still
No, we
young.
did just start. We did just start.
So Raymond still with the lead. Then it's Bailey, Swafford, Allen, both Witts, Colemansberger, Lane, Jared Duda, and Anthony Lane for the top 10. They are going to double them up. Try it again. Come on, guys. You made it fine. You made it just fine in the heat races. It's not too much different.
I have faith in these guys. I think we're gonna get this thing going. We're gonna get a good 20-lap run here pretty soon.
Why only 20? Why can't it be 48?
I have a limit on my expectations. I'm realistic.
A realist, I like it. Aaron Raymond will work the field around. Pace car ducking in off of turn 4. And Aaron Raymond leads the field back to the green flag. Bit more separation this time. This might be the mark.
Oh, a little late there for Raymond. Bailey able to hang it around the outside. Can he keep the right rear coming out of the corner? Doesn't look like it. Aaron Raymond able to slide across the nose of Zane and Bailey as we come down to 3 and 4 this time. Can we get through 4? Michael Allen clips the apron a little bit. This time, we're going to get to the line. No yellow flag. It's a miracle. It's insane. I cannot believe I'm here to witness it.
Our first official green flag lap of the night for the Track Hawk 50's main event. Took him 3 tries, but you know what they say, 4th time's the charm. So Raymond, Bailey, Allen continuing to duke it out with one another. Look back to Paul Witt and Noah Swafford right now in a grudge match. This is for 4th.
Yeah, and this is where I feel like it's going to get fun. When we can get some green flag laps, a couple battles just kind of spawn out of the restart side by side. Here it is for the 4th place spot. Noah Swafford hanging on to it and getting up to the rear bumper here of the number 3 right in front of him. That's Michael Allen looking out of the inside. He got some separation. Now looking to make the pass instead of being on the defensive, but he's not going to have the momentum out of 4. And now instead, Paul Witt's going to have the momentum around the outside coming down to 1 and 2. Can the 26 get the momentum back? It doesn't look like it. Witt's going to go to the outside, and it looks like he might lose one more spot. The 53's flying by. Jared Duda trying to get back to the front.
Jared Duda found himself turned hard into the wall. He was grinding along the catch fence earlier this race. Now almost losing it in the middle of 3 wide. He'll be forced to back out. Still drives around the outside of Swafford and picks him off with the number 5 spot. So now Jared Duda trying to drive up to the number, 3 on the card, 29 on the racetrack of Matt Allen. This here a 3-way battle for the final podium spot.
Allen up in 3rd to the very, very high side. Duda going a little bit higher. Paul Witt trying to wrap the bottom. Oh, the 29 in the fence. Allen finds the wall. That's going to let Paul Witt through. Now he's 3 wide. The 53 stuck in the middle. Does he have the momentum to make the move? I don't think so. The 29 of Allen stuck on the outside. Paul Witt holding him up. Duda slinging it into 3 and 4, trying to take the spot.
Great battle we got going on here for the number 4 spot as this pack has started to fracture. They're going to split things up. Here comes Allen looking back to the inside, but Jared Duda has been so good at pulling the outside all through his heat race. No contest. He is out with a long shot. Now trying to attack Paul Witt for 3rd. And boy, for a moment, thought we just had a bit of a connection drop, but we seem to be fine now. Further down the field, here's Jim Duda fighting with Anthony Williams and Thomas Lane Jr. All cars caught up in wrecks earlier tonight.
Both Dudas getting themselves back in the top half of the field. Duda back in 8th. Jim Duda back in 8th. Jared Duda up in 4th. And he's all over the back bumper of Paul Witt right now. Witt for the top 3 as we come down into turn number 1. And this is our longest green flag run of the night by far, obviously. And we're getting some good battles out of it, right? Duda here under pressure as the other Duda is starting to look to the inside of Paul Witt as we exit turn number 4.
All of this, though, has cost them time in the top 2. Raymond and Bailey have pulled out 1.7 seconds over 3rd on back. Jared Duda sweeps through, takes up the number 3 spot, and look at the battle pack behind. This is the scrapper 5th on down. Right now, Mike Allen, the cork in the bottle, as the old 53 trying to mount an attack on Jim Kolmensberger.
Coming through 1 and 2, Mike Allen a little tight off the corner, and he is really holding these guys up, stuck on the outside of the racetrack, not letting them through. The 26 looks a little quicker on the inside, Swafford, but he's going to have to get out of the gas and get a little bit of a bumper down the front straightaway. Kolmensberger just helping him out down the front stretch instead of making him 3 wide, but Duda's looking at the outside.
Oh my goodness.
He's trying to make it 3 and almost maybe was 4 for a second. The 3 sideways through the middle of the corner. Jim Duda's going to pick off all of them and get back up to the top 5.
That was insane. Look now at the 3 cutting to the inside. The 26 driving the high line. Look at now Kolmensberger to the inside. He's blocked out onto the apron. The 3 of Anthony Williams looking to lunge one in around the top. 3 wide off the corner. Around goes Kolmensberger. Goes around, slams hard into the inside wall, and that will put him down and out, leaving it just about a 5-horse race for the number 5 position up the road.
Holy cow, man. Holy cow. This stuff is fun whenever we get some green flag laps going and we have some cars on the racetrack, isn't it?
It's about on par with what I was expecting from this race tonight, and I am not disappointed at all. Look at Lane. Now tracked around the high side of Anthony Lane. The 26 of Noah Swafford is looking to get into the mix. Crossing the line and back down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. That 3 near 4 wide. I think they were 4 wide for a moment. But that was an insane move that Duda made right there. And a bold one to make a statement. The last time he tried that, he found himself in the inside and then the outside wall.
I mean, this has just been so fun so far, and you know, the Dudas, they are coming, man. They just need that yellow flag to come out at some point. Maybe we come down, put on a set of tires. I don't know. Find some type of an advantage over Aaron Raymond up in the lead, because I think the Dudas have some speed. It's just one of them has a little bit of damage, and one of them has had to burn his stuff up coming through the field. Both of them have had to do that, actually. So I think both those guys have a ton of pace and could challenge Raymond up towards the front of the field. Zane Bailey, though, doing a good job at not letting Raymond completely pull away. As the three's looking to the inside here, trying to pick up the 7th place spot.
Oh, boy.
Noah Swafford, really close between Swafford and Williams as we come through 3 and 4.
That was an aggressive dive right there, but a dive nonetheless that practically stuck. You're right on with Anthony Lane. He's got a front row seat to this madhouse just a little ways behind him. I mean, what an absolute dogfight you got going on here for spots down the field. This is absolutely brilliant.
Can Williams clear him this time through 1 and 2? This is where he's got him, the 26, way up the racetrack. Clear him, come up the field. No, he's not going to do it. He's going to give him the room, and now the 26 has the room. Swafford just throws it deep into the corner. That might have been his downfall, though. Doesn't have the run down the front straightaway this time. I believe Anthony Williams should be able to clear Noah Swafford off the corner. And finally, he decides to take it. Hopefully it can be smooth sailing for him, but Swafford trying to dive it in a little deeper as he's under attack. Anthony Lane right behind him.
Further down the field, Bawalda, Amaro, and Mike Allen all under a blanket. This is for the last spot inside the top 10. And still not seeing too much luck for these drivers out this way either. So they've been doing their darndest, but it's just tough running for them. Here's the battle for third. Jared Duda and Paul Witt about half a lap now behind the fight for 8th, 9th, and 10th and more. But they are still 2 seconds out from Aaron Raymond. Now 3 seconds out as Raymond has just been putting on a master class at the head of this field, and Zane Bailey has not been able to catch him.
Yeah, Aaron Raymond is just absolutely flying, and I gotta give Zane Bailey some credit for keeping him this close, right? I mean, it's another 3 seconds back to anybody else if you're Aaron Raymond. Bailey at least keeping it respectable at the front, right? Just 9/10 of a second between the two as we're coming down to 20 laps to go. It's just Raymond's ripping the bottom really well.
And then the fight between Jim Duda and Thomas Lane Jr. We are well into the second half now of this main event for the Track Hawk 50. Duda and Lane were looking to be side by side. They're going to double it out. Still a 4-way fight for that last spot inside the top 5. You've also got Anthony Williams and Anthony Lane just a little ways behind. So Anthony's thinking like they might want to team up to try to get by these two.
Yeah, we might have that fight for the top 5 here. Jim Duda getting around the lap cars. Allen's struggling now at the very bottom side of the racetrack, down 3 laps. Letting these lead lap cars go by. Thomas Lane Jr. all over the back bumper here of Jim Duda as we come down to turn number 1. But not close enough to make any type of a move as we only have 15 laps to go here. The laps starting to click off now as we've had some green flag racing.
Had a very rocky start. There was only 3 laps of green flag. Well, not even. It took us 3 attempts to get a single lap of green in. And ever since that first lap, about 4 laps in, we have been green flag running ever since. I mean, these cars are momentum based, right? You just need to give it a lap or two, and then you're able to settle into a rhythm, and it should be smooth sailing from there on to the end. These cars aren't the most difficult things in the world to drive either, which really does make settling into that very necessary rhythm so much easier.
It makes it easier, but it makes it more important too, right? Like if you can't get into that rhythm, then you're going to be way off the pace compared to some of these other guys, because it's going to be so much more integral to get into the rhythm to even be able to compete, right? If it's really easy to get into the rhythm and you can't do it, then you're going to be at the very back of the field very quickly. So we're watching a battle here with Anthony Lane and Anthony Williams switching around the 7th place spot as we come down to 11 laps to go, maybe 10 here as the leader's coming around.
$11 laps on the docket this time by. Leaders just took the line for 10. So there you see Aaron Raymond. That's a good representation of how far up the field Raymond is from everybody else. There, in fact, you see the battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th just in front of him. So he has really started to click off some of these other positions here on the racetrack.
Oh.
And we just got a caution. Lanes around.
That was the battle for the top 5. Thomas Lane Jr. was battling with Jim Duda for the top 5, and now he has backed that thing into the fence.
Caution is out with less than 10 laps to go. So that, I think, should force a single file restart with how iRacing manages their how double file restarts work under yellow.
Oh, that's going to be a tap from a lapper. Mike Allen 3 laps down, taps him to the middle of the corner, and then doesn't let him back up on the racetrack. And that's well, your 5th and 6th runners going hard into the fence. Everybody's going to come down pit road, though.
That explains why Allen was so far down on the racetrack as well. 7 cars into pit road, and I think all of these for damage repairs, really. You know what damage they can get fixed now.
I mean, Aaron Raymond's down pit road. Zane Bailey's down pit road. These guys are getting tires.
Really? They did give him a couple of sets. You don't typically see tire changes going on. Reminder,
Raymond
these are
2 tires.
A reminder as well, these are competitive pit stops that we're seeing here. So they got to make sure they can get off of pit road in a hurry.
Yeah, that's why, I guess that's why Raymond took 2 tires. Looking back at Zane Bailey's pit stop, he took 4. So Raymond's not on the best stuff here, but he wanted to make sure he got out of pit road. I think the pit stops were a little bit shorter than he was expecting. He got out of pit road in a flash. Zane Bailey took 4 tires. I believe Bailey still came out 2nd, so Bailey might have an advantage over Raymond here over the course of the last 10.
Just the smallest nudge as well. It's a hard lick.
At this point, if you're Mike Allen, you're 3 laps down, nobody's within 2 laps of you, you're running 13th. Why are you battling the guys that are fighting for 5th with 10 laps to go?
Smith Duda never saw it coming. You can't prepare for that either. You just got to take it and run with it. So, Cody Witt right now, the first car behind the iRacing safety car. I'm not sure how the scoring is going to line up. I don't know if that's correct or not. Are you able to confirm, Austin? I think by my count...
I'm saying Aaron Raymond is the leader.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. That's not going to update really, though, until we get through to the... excuse me. Oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought.
So we get through to the restart. So
yeah, 1 to go. Over? Thank you.
I don't know. iRacing's telling me Raymond's the leader. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. Cody Witt, he stayed out, but that would be to get his lap back.
Yeah, they're probably just wave rounds.
Same story there for Thomas Lane Jr., the car in front of him. They're not waving him around. I'm not sure why they're not waving him around, but SDK has just scored Cody Witt as the leader. So we'll see what happens here when they take the green.
What?
That doesn't make sense to me either, but we'll see what happens here. They're going to let it go. Green flag coming this time. Is Cody Witt the leader? Is Aaron Raymond the leader? What is for sure, there's 8 laps left on the market this afternoon.
The front 2 got away early. I'm not quite sure if this is the battle for the lead, but the 3, Anthony Williams, he's taking it. Anthony Williams to the race lead. Raymond on the 2 tires coming through on the inside. 2 wide as we funnel down into turn number 3. Raymond looking to get back to the race lead as we've got 8 laps to go, coming to 7.
Oh, a bit of a stack up further in the rear. They're able to get themselves sorted, and look at Raymond round the top side of Williams with the fresh tires. Williams never pitted. He and Raymond and Zane Bailey are going to drive right around him. And we got problems behind. Big problems.
No. Oh, we got him spinning like Beyblades in the middle of the track here at Bristol. The 77 around. We saw one more just go and spin, and it might have been to 82 again. Oh my goodness, Anthony Lane cannot catch a break tonight.
Nasty, nasty incident coming around there into turn numbers 1 and 3 and 4. Caution now out with less than 5 to go, and this is how it happened.
Coming down to 3, Paul Witt way up the racetrack.
Just a big lunge.
39 from, honestly, I can't believe he got that deep into the corner from where he was. Paul Witt able to save it, but just contact further back, and then, well, the 39 gets spin back around and clips the 77.
Lane! Look at Lane sneaking through that. Lunge from Cody Witt for sure, and then that just took out the, oh boy, that's a big hit for Allen and for Anthony Lane, who both went into the wall.
Yeah, Anthony's been involved in just about everything out here tonight. I feel bad for him. I feel like none of this has been his fault, and he's just back here, and they just keep ping-ponging off the wall, off of each other, and, I mean, what are you going to do? I feel like he was going in a good spot. Another car just gets flung to the inside, and then all of a sudden, heavy contact once again. It's the same thing for a lot of these guys.
This with Anthony Lane. Nowhere to go. Gosh, that is a huge hit. And then this is with Thomas Lane Jr., because he just barely stuck through.
Ooh, that's not a good sight, and neither is that. Oh my gosh.
That is dirty.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Just juked that wreck out like it was nothing. So Lane incorrectly scored as the leader. Aaron Raymond is the confirmed race leader. Zane Bailey second. Everything else is correct. It's just that 182 on the top, and that's going to be shuffled out relatively quickly, I'd imagine, here. But lights are still on.
SDK doesn't seem to like these races where the caution laps don't count.
You know, no timing software does. Because
I can understand.
Well, and the reason why is because they're trying to update it live, right? iRacing technically only updates at the scoring loop. So so the software is trying to predict where they are, not where they actually are. So iRacing right now, see, SDK is trying to live score them as they run. That's why it keeps doing this. iRacing isn't scoring anybody. It's frozen on from what the last lap rotation was. So that's the conflict there.
Amazing. That makes sense why I couldn't figure out exactly who was the leader.
Yeah. Well, because remember, it's not, you don't freeze the field at the moment of caution like you do when the laps are being counted. You take the order from the last fully completed lap, which is why we had so many scoring issues when they didn't make it a lap because there wasn't a lap to pull from.
Well, hopefully we can get these last 5 all in one go.
We'll see. Aaron Raymond, single file. He'll have the lead all the way up to the outside. No surprises there. The rest of the field lined up right behind. We're ready to go at it again. 4 laps the distance from the Coliseum. Boy, a huge stack up in that secondary pack there. That might lead to problems here early on.
Everybody from 5th on back disconnected. Jared Duda looking to the inside of Anthony Williams. Williams on the old tires. Zane Bailey on the 4 freshies looking to the inside of Aaron Raymond for the race lead as we take 3 laps to go.
4 to go now. No problems so far. I know it's a challenge sometimes, but right now Raymond, Bailey, Duda, Williams all with a shout technically on going for the win, but Aaron Raymond starting to pull out. Zane Bailey cannot afford for Jared Duda to be pressuring him on the tail end like he is. Raymond just had the fastest lap of the race.
Yep, 3 laps to go, coming to 2 as we're going through 3 and 4. Can Zane Bailey get back up there? I just don't know if he's got enough in him. Raymond's looking pretty good on those 2 tires in the clean air, and Jared Duda right behind is looking feisty for second. We're just about 3 wide, a little bit further back. The other Duda, Jim Duda, just barely hanging on for 6 is Paul Witt. He just wrecked a second ago, it looked like. Now he's fighting for 6 as we hit the white flag.
1 lap to go. Does Bailey have something? Jared Duda stuffs it in, going for the number 2 spot down the back straightaway. No problems here, though. Aaron Raymond controls this race from flag to flag. He wins the Trackhawk 50 and a big drag race for second at the stripe.
Ooh, they were beating and banging for the second place position like crazy. Jared Duda was doing everything he possibly could to get the second place position. Could not quite do it, but Aaron Raymond up front just about all night long. He brings home the checkered flag here tonight from the Bristol Motor Speedway, getting ready to do his victory donuts.
Bit of a challenge to do with a car that's this low power, but he's going to make it work. He's doing some nice wide donuts there. He's enjoying himself, I think, trying to keep some momentum up to keep him going. And he'll bring it to a stop, perfect form, right on the checkered boards, and that will take us to the end of racing action this afternoon. Let's take a run down to what your final results look like for the main event. At the end of the day, it is Aaron Raymond to take home the race win for this one. Zane Bailey was second, fighting it out with Jared Duda for the number 2 spot. Anthony Williams was in 4th, Thomas Lane Jr. 5th. Duda 6th, Paul Witt 7th, Swafford, Amaral, and John Walter Jr. rounded out the top 10.
Cody Witt 11th, Anthony Lane in 12th, Mike Allen 13th, Jim Colemansberger 14th, Dylan Wilbers in 15th. John Holliday rounds out the 16-car field here tonight.
Take one quick look at that drag race for the number 2 spot. This is coming off of turn numbers 3 and 4. Watch as Bailey and Jared Duda absolutely sand it in. Bailey tried to get that run around the high side, but it was nothing doing, and that is how close it was for second and third at the stripe. An absolutely beautiful run for both of them here this afternoon. And you know what? A good race overall. Had a rocky start, yes. But you know what? That race went about as good as any this afternoon. And we're going to get the chance now to give a chit-chat here to the drivers that take home the podium this afternoon. We'll kick things off with a driver that is very familiar with the Green Flag TV broadcast booth. It is Aaron Raymond out of Highgate, Vermont. And Raymond, you take home the first win of the Street Stock Series. You won your heat race and you practically dominated the main event today. You were in complete control start to finish, save for a little bit of a scrap in the final 10 laps. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was definitely a race. I think the next couple weeks we're at the little bull rings are going to be a lot better racing-wise and viewing-wise.
Overall, kind of talk us through how the race was tonight at Bristol. It's not a track where you often see mini stocks at, and it's not a track that necessarily is fitting of the characteristics of this car. So how'd you have to adapt your driving style to handle it tonight?
It's weird. It was a lot of almost plate racing, but there was a lot you could do to make speed by different lines and how you could the throttle through the corner.
And of course, next week, it is Concord Speedway, by far the most unique-looking track on the schedule, the only 3-turn racetrack we've got. How do you feel about going to Pocono's little brother?
I like that track. I'm usually pretty good at it, but each week's a different story, so we're just going to have to see how it goes.
Sounds like a plan. We'll see you then when we go racing once again next week at Concord Speedway. Congratulations on taking the opener.
Thank you.
That was Aaron Raymond coming on home. We'll move on down to the driver that finishes in the number 2 spot. Zane Bailey brings it up in second. Another driver that is quite familiar with us by now. Austin, you're standing by with our runner-up.
Oh, Zane, the entire night, you were the only one that was able to keep it anywhere close with Aaron Raymond. Just a little off of him, but then coming out of pit road, he was on 2 tires. You were on 4 tires. I thought for sure that there was an opportunity there. What went wrong over the course of that last restart, and was there anything different you could have done with the fresher left sides to get past Raymond for the lead?
Yeah, that final restart, I thought he was going to go middle or top. Or maybe he might come down at the bottom but clear. But he came down and just parked it. I thought he was going to stay high or drive it in deeper. So I had to check up, back out, and then it just plowed on exit. And then I lost a lot of ground.
Well, Zane, it was still a really good run, coming home in second place, and you ran there, I mean, basically all night. And at the end, there was a little bit of fireworks. I mean, you and Jared Duda were going at it for the second place position. What was the race to the line like? Because it was pretty fun to watch from the booth.
Yeah, I knew I wanted the top. I thought the top was a bit better on slightly older tires, or just for defending, but the bottom's good for fresh tires. So when I saw that he was coming up, I just went to the top and just defended.
Well, Zane, congratulations on the second place finish here tonight, man. I mean, it was a really good run all night long. What are you are you looking forward to the tracks coming ahead, or was Bristol kind of the one that you were looking forward to?
Yeah, I really haven't looked at the schedule too much, but yeah, these things are fun.
All right, Zane. Well, congratulations again on the second place finish. Looking forward to seeing if you can continue the good streak here.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that was second place finisher Zane Bailey. Next up, we're gonna pull up the guy that finished in third. It's Jared Duda.
Jared Duda comes home with the final podium position of the night. And, well, Jared, that was a wild race for sure. You had some highs. You sure had some lows. Let's address the elephant in the room. You tangled with a relative, Jim Duda, in some of those opening laps there. How awkward is Thanksgiving going to be coming up?
I mean, he's sitting right next to me, so I had to smack him on the top of the head and say, "What the heck?" So.
You look at the race as a whole, though. I mean, you go from riding along the catch fence in turn 3 to being able to drive through and take home a very solid podium finish at the end of the night. It's quite the comeback drive, especially after taking the win in the very dominant heat race number 3. Talk us through the night and that comeback drive from bottom to top.
Yeah, these cars are fast, hard to pass here. The top line was dominant when you were on older tires. It made it almost impossible to pass on the bottom, so had to make way of good restarts and take advantage where other people were messing up to make it from the back up to the front.
Of course, it's the first time that we've been able to talk to you up here in the Green Flag TV broadcast booth. You look to the 8-week championship as a whole. Where do you anticipate yourself landing up by the end?
I have to take another look at the schedule, see what tracks we end up at, but of course, I'm always trying to shoot for first, so I think on a nice short track, one that's not so momentum heavy as Bristol, I think I got a good shot with these guys.
Sounds like a solid plan. We'll see you then next week when we go racing at Concord.
Thank you.
Jared Duda comes home with his first podium on Green Flag TV, and well, Austin, with that is, I think, just about going to be a wrap for us here this afternoon, but that was a wild one. I think it started a little bit more wild than we were anticipating, at least off the initial launch, but we got there in the end, and no doubt looking to be a good show coming forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, they got it all figured out, right? It took a couple tries, took a couple goes, but we finally got just like that little stutter right there did. But we finally got a 30-lap run there at the end, and typical late race shenanigans happened, but we still had a good finish in the end, and probably the most deserving guy won in the end, but the guy that led probably 45 of the 50 laps here tonight.
Still a long way to go as well in the SRA Mini Stock Series, but before we get to all of that, some of the action coming on up on Green Flag TV over the next week. Of course, we'll have the SRA Next Gen Cup Series tomorrow night for the Chicagoland Speedway with High Tide Race League MF Racing Designs Premier Series running out at Charlotte for round number 5. And then, of course, SRA back for the round of 10 eliminator round at the Brickyard. Indianapolis Motor Speedway plays host for the first playoff cup race on Tuesday nights. All of that and so much more coming on up. Don't forget as well, next weekend we will not be broadcasting this series live. There will be a live-to-tape recording put up on Monday afternoon because we'll be busy doing the VSCA Sports Car Championship with Petit Le Mans for the final race of the season, a 10-hour endurance race to see who will take the greatest honor in sports car racing. And then, of course, still so much more as well after that and before and around. For now, if you want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Madola Rampo. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week at Concord.